What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show with me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com. And today I am looking back at PFL 5 2024, which went down on June 21st, 2024 in the Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. And this was a very, very interesting card in two ways, I think. The first way it was very interesting was it was very different to last week in that I felt like last week was very straightforward. We kind of knew at all times who was going to be going to the next round. Kind of, it was like you get to this point, you have won, you win the decision, you get through a round. It was even more simple than that, right? This tonight, I didn't know who was true fully until I sat down here. I'm here maybe 20 minutes after the card is finished less, and I actually looked it up. I go, oh, those are the guys who were true. It felt like until the last it wasn't the last minute of both fights, but it felt that way because of the way both co-main event and main event fights went. So it was it was lackluster in an exciting way, and if lackluster can be a positive word, I would use it here. I don't mean it negatively at all, but that's the way it was. It was hard to follow and hard to know who was true at all times, but that makes for compelling television, I think, and compelling kind of a sport, because usually, MMA these days, it's very, very tough. Leave PFL aside for a second, but if you're watching the UFC and you're watching an undercard, or you're watching the main card, the co-main events in a lot of these fights, they don't really matter. There's nothing on the line. There's a lot on the line for each fighter individually, of course, and they're half their pay packet usually, but for the punter at home, it's like, do you really care if, fighter A wins versus fighter B? Most of the time, not really, unless you were betting them maybe or something. But in the PFL, it matters. You're looking, he has to win before 120 of round 2 or whatever, and you're looking at the clock and go, oh, can he get the finish? And then there was one of the fights where one of the fighters didn't go for it, and I was like, well, what's he doing? And even me, who watches things very down the middle and obviously doesn't have favorites or anything, I'm like, why isn't he going? Kind of getting mad at the TV, which honestly doesn't really happen for me with MMA very often, to be honest. So yeah, that's good. That's very, very good. And I think PFL have something there. And if they can get more of that and I suppose bottle it, it's worth an awful lot. Now, the other thing with this card is, as we say here in Ireland, and it's probably saying elsewhere as well, but it was a game of two halves, this card was. So if you, like me, were staying up late to watch this and decided halfway through, I'm going to go to bed, and didn't watch the last few fights, you probably would have thought, all right card, not great, a couple of boring decisions and stuff, right? And if you got in late and only watched the last few fights, maybe the last 4 or 5 fights, 6 fights maybe even, you would have been calling this a card of the year contender, because there was some absolutely brilliant fights. Even the ones that went to decision were absolutely brilliant. So I suppose that's the way it is. This card built and built and built, and the fights got better as they went, and it ended with a few amazing fights. So yeah, all in all, I would call that a good card, an exciting card, and built the way I suppose you would want it to build. It was funny, I had so many notes written for the early fights. I was like, how am I going to get through all of this? But that I will do, and we'll get into it here straight away. So let's talk about the main event first, and this is a very, very fun and interesting fight. And Mads Burnell ended up getting the win over Clay Collard via unanimous decision. There's some very frustrating moments in this fight of refereeing, not the fight itself, but the referee. I'll get into it here in a second. Let's go from the top. But I really hate when, so I'm very pro, standing lads up. If there's a long clinch, break them up. Very much pro that. I know a lot of people don't want any breaks or anything. That's not me. But God almighty, if someone is working to pass guard, someone is working on a submission, someone has just got to the ground, give them time. I'd never ever break it up if someone is working on something trying to get it. And Mike Beltran here, I think it was towards the end of the second round, as I said, I'll get to it here in a second. He gave Burnell 2 warnings, which completely changed the flow of the fight. This was a close enough decision. If Burnell had lost the decision here, I'd be even more up in arms, because I think he actually robbed him of the ability to finish the fight here, because he was very close to finishing it. I just had to get that off my chest early here. It's nearly 5 a.m. Irish time, and that really, and it's a sign of really bad refereeing, really, really bad refereeing. And you know, I have a lot of respect for Mike Beltran, but I don't think he's a great referee, and that's a bad sign of it. But anyway, let's get into the fight. So this fight was very interesting because I hate the phrase in judging, right? Depends what the judge is seeing, right? So in MMA, we have very clear rules of what the judge should be looking at and what they should be scoring, right? But this kind of was like, what's the judge seeing? Like, the first round was very much a lot of shots from Collard. Burnell not landing. I think it was, I looked at it once and it was 3 times the amount of shots Collard landed that Burnell landed. But Burnell was landing harder, in my opinion. Now, when I say what was the referee seeing, like, was the referee or the judges, sorry, were the judges seeing Mads landing as hard maybe as I were seeing him? I didn't think Clay was landing that hard. Were the judges seeing Clay landing harder than me? And even if they were seeing Mads landing a bit harder, he didn't land any like big knockout blows or anything like that, or big knockdown blows. Like, where does that edge over to one person winning the other round? Very, very tough. And I'll tell you what, the judges had some really tough fights throughout the night here. Some unbelievably razor thin rounds. And you know what? I think they got every single one of them right. I think anyway, I'll go through them here, but I think they did. I know some people were giving out, you know, people had bet on people, but I think the judges did an absolutely phenomenal job. Plus, remember this as well, PFL is on right now in, what time is it, 12 hours time, the UFC starts. In 12 hours time as well, I think, Bellator starts. And they're all in 3, so one's in America, one's in Ireland, and one's in Saudi Arabia. 3 different countries, 3 different sets of judges, 3 different sets of referees. They're very much, I doubt there'll be anyone traveling from America over to Ireland or over, you know, they're very much thin in terms of the teams going around. So I think it could be very risky. The Ireland one, not sure the team in Ireland, but not sure the team in Saudi Arabia either. We'll see, I suppose, tomorrow. But the team was definitely lighter in PFL, but I think they did a phenomenal job. I know there was a few local judges there as well, but I give them all the credit. I think they did extremely well. So that's that anyway. We'll talk more about it as we get along. So let's get into this Clay Collard Burnell fight. Clay's fast hands are the real story of this early fight. And he was just attacking the body of Mads an awful lot. Mads was landing the overhand right, which was really his shot of the fight. Lots of shots from Clay. Mads landed another right hand really hard, but Clay was landing loads and running around and kind of he was, if you were to say who was dictating the pace of the fight, you would have to say Clay Collard, but Mads was staying in it with a lot of those shots. Then he got a takedown, which looked very easy. He tried to take the back, but Clay got up and got to the clinch, which was kind of a theme of the night, to be honest, for Clay. Mads landed some knees and he got out. Clay again with the fast hands, and he landed a knee of his own. But Mads was just dangerous with the right hand, landed 2 nice jabs as well. And I as I said, I thought he was hurting him, even though he was landing less. Mads then got another takedown with about 90 seconds left in the first round, but Clay got up quick. He landed nice combos and a nice leg kick. Right hand by Mads then was nice, and he got into a takedown from that right hand, and he kind of got the right position towards the end of the round. So again, you know, whatever you like in that round. I know Big John gave it to Clay Collard. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, to be honest. I didn't have a great opinion on it either way. Second round, Mads was going forward an awful lot more, eating a couple, but he got a takedown very quickly into full guard. But he just couldn't pass. Clay was doing a very, very good job. He got to a knee and got out. Landed a hard leg kick of his own and landed some lovely body work and then a flying knee. But Mads Burnell landed kind of a spinning back fist, or maybe it was just a little bit off, but he threw it, and then he got a takedown, got into the quarter bound position, was transitioning to the back, got one hook in, and he tried to shake him off. And this was where Beltran gave the horrendous warnings. One was in the quarter mount. I don't know if I said that at the start. Where you remember that position, you know, the Khabib versus McGregor position, where, you know, Khabib spent a lot of the round there. You know, it's a position where, and it wasn't just one of those positions like where he was going to spin the round there like Khabib did. He actually was trying to move at the time, and he just like forced him to move out so Clay could get away. On the back as well. He was literally on the back with one hook in, and he had this very interesting position as well, because I said there Clay tried to shake him off, but he had the hook in, and then rather than getting the second hook in, you know, he hooked his own leg or his 2 feet together to kind of to secure the position. And he was obviously moving from there, throwing a few shots, or looking to maybe go for maybe an armbar, or get the two hooks in, or pull him to the ground, or try to do whatever he was going to do. But he was in a position where he was just about to move. It was the start of an attack. And to warn someone there was so bad, just awful. And like he could have got the finish. He had enough time, but it didn't end up happening. Mads was covering up to start the third in. Clay body shot was countered by a lovely left hook from Mads. Loads of body work again by Clay. That was a team of the fight. Burnell was landing plenty though, and then he got a takedown into half guard. Went for the arm triangle, but he's on the wrong side, and he took the back again. But Clay managed to kind of roll out, and Mads got into the half guard from on top. Again, went for the arm triangle. Looked a bit better this time, but he didn't manage to get it. He was on top, landing loads and ground and pound for the last minute, and took that round. And with that, he took the fight. So very, very good fight there. I thought, they talked an awful lot throughout the night about the altitude and how it would work against certain guys. I think that was the case with Clay Collard here. Unfortunately, I think he got very tired, and you could tell that the longer the fight went, the more he was kind of struggling, and losing the third round in that fashion as well was big for him. We'll talk about who got into the finale and who's fighting who in the semi-finals next. We'll do that at the end of the review. The next fight was a light heavyweight fight between Impa Kasanganay and Jakob. Come on, let's get it right here. Nedoh. I always get it wrong. Jakob. We'll go with Impa and Jakob. A very, 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 very interesting fight. Again. Impa. So what was the situation here? Jakob needed a first round win, and Impa just needed to get to the second round to get through. So this was very much one of those fights where Impa played the smart game, just basically refused to get finished in round one. And that was the way he played it, and it was really, really smart. He was on his bike throughout the round, landed a 1-2 after about 70 seconds, and that was the first shot of the round. Impa countered him with a left hook, and Jakob was off with just a couple of jabs early, but things did get going in the first round. Impa was kind of going high-low with his shots, and Tyron Woodley was calling him very, very well. Tyron Woodley actually did a phenomenal job. I think he's a really, really good commentator, and he did a great job commentating on this, especially this fight as well. Right hand by Jakob halfway was the first kind of shot that he landed that was good. And as I said, he needed to win in round one, and Impa knew that too. The second right hand was from Jakob, kind of dropped Impa, to be honest, and you could see that Impa felt the power of it, but he recovered well, landed a left hook late. And this was the stage where I was a bit frustrated. Like, Jakob knew in the last 15 seconds of the round he needed to go for it, and he just didn't. Like, he just kind of sat back and didn't attack Impa, and that was very, very surprising. But anyway, we went into the second round, and the second round, to me, it's hard to think of every round this year, but to me this was round of the year so far. An unbelievable round of mixed martial arts. Hard to go through everything that happened in it, but I'll go through bits and pieces. So Impa came out again with that high-low body to head into a takedown, but they got up very, very quickly. Then a hard jab was landed by Jakob. Impa was now throwing hard as well, that the first round was over, and both landed in these wild exchanges around maybe mid into the first round. Absolutely insane. Impa was wobbled by a right hand, then the knee rocks Impa, and I was like, oh my god, he has him here. Jakob has him, he's going to finish him. But then Impa got a beautiful takedown, which really, really saved him. Jakob got up and into the clinch. Impa was cut really, really bad at this stage, and it was one of those cuts, when it happens, that if this goes on, and if the referee gets a look at it, or they bring in the doctor, this is the type of cut that I feel like could end the fight. That was the way I was kind of looking at it. But Impa did a good job of kind of protecting himself and not taking too much more damage on it at that sort of point. Jakob getting a takedown as well was a help there. He got the kind of the Dagestani handcuff, was landing some ground and pound. but they got up and both attacked absolutely wild. Jakob landed a beautiful uppercut, and then Impa turned things around, hit him with hurts him bad with a right hand. He was out on his feet, and just attacked and attacked and attacked. And it was at this stage as well where the fight was coming to an end. He was out on his feet. Impa was landing loads of shots, and the bell went and the referee ended it. So I was like, okay, this guy, he can barely stand. He got to his corner. The corner were kind of fixing him up. And they came back from, a break or whatever. And then I was like, okay, is it starting or is it over? And like, they never showed the referee stopping it, or they never showed the referee going to his corner. Now, he might have, but it wasn't seen. And next thing, Impa just started just running up and down and jumping up in the cage. I don't know, did the ref go full Earl Hebner and just like left the arena or anything? But anyway, the fight was stopped, and I believe it was stopped between rounds. It seemed that way, because I don't think the ref stopped it, at 4:49 or anything like that. Maybe he stopped it after, the second after. But I don't know. I don't think they showed it in the replay. You couldn't see it anyway. But anyway, it was the right decision to stop it. Jakob was absolutely out on his feet, and a brilliant win, brilliant comeback, round of the year. Impa Kasanganay, lovely stuff. Then we have Patricky Pitbull versus Bruno Miranda in the lightweight division. Again, it was a weird fight, right? It was a great fight surrounded by a terrible fight. So in the first and the third round was a bit better, but in the first two rounds, there was like 3 or 4 10-minute segments of absolute mania, surrounded by like weird point fighting where they weren't doing much, right? And it all started in the first 10 seconds, just an all-out brawl, right? I looked up as the bell went, and I was like, okay, I'm out and I got a drink or something. I was putting the dogs to bed or whatever. So came back in, sat down literally as it started, and I was like, okay. Usually, you know what the Pitbull brothers, they usually start kind of slow enough and they build into fight. Just going all out straight away, and all out brawl. Miranda was hurt first, then Patricky was hurt, and I looked up at the clock. Then again, I was like, oh god, that was a mad 3 minutes, and it was 40 seconds in. And I was like, oh my god! But it slowed down to 40 seconds in. Pitbull took the center. Bruno was entering at one shot at a time, and Pitbull got a takedown, going for that front choke into the mount. Takes the back. Oh my god, this back take! Honest to God, they need to make a clip of this back take and put it everywhere. Like, this will be my guy Harry Powell and Andrew McGahan and all the lads out there. The BJJ lovers will love this. So he was in the mount, right? In the mount. Let me get this right. He was in the mount, was Patricky. Miranda kicked off the fence to get out of the mount, and he jumped up as Miranda turned. Pitbull then turned on his back, landed on his back, and took the back. So he was mount, turn, back. Absolutely brilliant. One of the most beautiful transitions. I wonder, is there pictures of it or a video of it or something we could put up? It was absolutely brilliant. One of the best back takes transitions I've seen in a long time. Absolutely brilliant stuff. So yeah, he got into the mount then again, but standed up and landed a knee for Patricky. Not a lot in the feed after that. Nice jab by Bruno though in the round. It was the last 90 seconds or so. That jab was the only thing that landed really. A flying knee from Pitbull was just off at the start of the second round. Lands a nice right hand though. And there was some nice body kicks from Bruno. But I thought it was funny. I went through 2 phases in this second round. Bruno was not showing enough for me against a power guy like Patricky. He was just not showing enough. He was on a low kick and in a second, and he wasn't following him up. Then he landed 2 body shots, and he was on his bike. And I was thinking then that's it. He's kind of turned the tables here. He's kind of doing a Patricky. So now it's actually Patricky not landing enough because Bruno's picking off the shots, which was very smart, to be honest. And it might be a smart way of fighting the Pitbull brothers in the future. So yeah, that was the way it happened then. But then Patricky dropped him with a jab, which put that plan to bed very quickly. Lovely combos by Bruno, which led him to getting to smashing Patricky, and Patricky swinging back, and that absolute madness again to end the second round. It was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable stuff to end the second round. In the third round, Patricky got tired here. You know, and Miranda body kick countered by a nice Patricky combo. He got tired, but he never stopped fighting in the same instance. Miranda was getting very aggressive now. Hard right hand up by Patricky, and then Miranda landed one of his own. Left hook from Miranda and nearly does it. I thought this shot was going to put Patricky out, but he stood to it. Fair play to him. And then he got a takedown. He got a lockdown on the leg, and he moved to mount. And then he almost took the back into half guard with 100 seconds left. And again, we had a ref warning that was just too soon. He stood him up again, which for me, again, was too soon. I don't know what this was about. Then Patricky fell on a single leg. He was tired. Both land hard late. And Miranda misses with the rolling thunder. To me, a very close fight again. Even the third round, I thought Patricky got tired. It was a close round. Split decision. And Bruno Miranda ended up winning that one. Then we had another split decision in the next fight, and a few people on Twitter said, this, Rob Wilkinson definitely deserved to win this. I'm not so sure. I probably would have just leaned towards Rob as well, but very close fight, and I cannot believe how well Joshua Silveira fought here. Very, very impressed with him. He has gone to another level, in my opinion, with this fight. Now, I like Joshua Silveira. Anyone who listens to this show knows, but I didn't think he'd be able to stand in there with Joshua or with Rob Wilkinson. And when I say stand, I don't mean like strike. I mean like, I didn't think he'd be able to stand up to the attacks that were going to come from Rob, who's a very, very, very good fighter. So to go through the rounds, Josh was very active on the back foot. He went for a takedown, but Rob kind of pushed him into the clinch and out, and we saw a lot of this. Josh had another takedown attempt that failed, but then there was a body lock and a left hand from Josh, body kick and a left hand from Josh, which were very good. Rob Wilkinson then clinched, which I suppose at the time I didn't think much of. I was thinking, okay, he's just mixing up the game a bit, but I think he was a little bit worried, to be honest here. He knew that Silveira was doing better, was doing well before I did, to be honest, and that might not be breaking news, but it was very interesting now thinking back on that. Two nice kicks from Josh on the break. Then Rob landed a knee from another clinch. And then Josh got a takedown into a clinch as well. A lot of this throughout the fight. Low single from Josh, but up to a clinch and out. Rob landed a nice knee on the break. And the first right hand lands from Rob Wilkinson then towards the end of the round. So he wasn't landing that much on the feet at all. He gets in on a takedown, then gets to the right position, but Josh got up into the clinch. So very interesting. I thought Silveira won that first round. Second round then, Rob into the clinch again. Josh attacks and lands a right hand, and he was pressuring here. So tables really have turned. Silveira, who you'd expect to be the one clinching and going for takedowns, he was the one winning on the feet. He tried to takedown into the clinch again, but Rob landed some lovely dirty boxing. And I don't know if this has been said before, but I'm kind of the phrase dirty knees. Landed some lovely knees inside from the clinch until they broke again. Josh landed a lovely left hand, and his striking was improved an awful lot, and he landed a right hook as well. But the clinch knees from Rob were very good. He took the back of Josh against the cage. He was attacking a rear naked choke, but Josh got up. Rob landed a body lock takedown then, but they got up straight away from that. Leg kick from Rob, clinch from Rob, and a trip takedown from Rob as well. I think that secured him the round there. Not the takedown, but what came before it. Wilkinson was trying to push forward, but Josh's strikes kind of pushed him back at the beginning of the third. Rob got into the clinch and then got a takedown, but Josh went for the guillotine or the 10-finger choke, and it looked tight, and it forced Rob to get out. Josh takedown attempt was no good after that, and then Rob went for one, and Silveira jumped on the back, but he fell off, and Rob got into half guard with 3 minutes left. Went for the arm triangle, which gets him into the back mount, and then he was going for he got a good bit of ground and pound, kind of flattened him out a little bit, but he turned and took his back, then again going for the rear naked choke, but he got the arm under, which helped him to get out. Did Silveira a very good job of kind of underhooking the arm around the left hand side, I believe. Then there was a clinch, and Rob broke from it, and Josh took his back. Was going for a neck crank, and look, the neck crank looked really, really, really good, but there was 1 minute left. A lot of hand fighting, a lot of, he got the body control, and then Josh kind of didn't go for it again in the end. You're thinking there with 15 seconds left, I think Tyron Woodley said, he'll go for the armbar here, and he just didn't, and he lost the split decision, so that's the way things go. So before that then, there was the Yagshimuradov, and if you didn't, Rob Wilkinson won the split decision there. Yagshimuradov and Biyong, this was way more one-sided than Yagshimuradov won the unanimous decision here, as my voice begins to go. He was landing some nice hooks early, was Yagshimuradov. Biyong was landing some leg kicks and threw some right hands out there, but they weren't that successful. Nice spinning back fist from Yagshimuradov was probably the best shot of the first round. And Biyong was eliminated after the first round. So, as I choked it here, a slow start into the second. Yagshimuradov was throwing the right hand, and Simon landed 3 or 4 hard shots. But you could kind of see it. Yagshimuradov was the better throughout. And there was a lot of clinching in this as well. There was a low blow at one stage and some hard exchanges afterward. And you could see that both were kind of like, when they landed a hard shot, it was kind of like, screw that, I don't want to take another one of those. And late takedown for Yagshimuradov then in the second. Slow start again, and the third until Simon landed a right hand. The corner showed he was hurt, he wasn't, and then he got rushed in and got taken down. They moved to the cage, and Yags holds him there into the 3/4 mount. Bit of shots from both. Yagshimuradov tried to take his back, gets to the feet in the clinch. Yagshimuradov a few shots. Ref broke him up with 46 seconds left, and immediate Yagshimuradov takedown into side control again, and he won the decision there. Shock of the night probably went to Alex Polizzi, who beat former champion Antonio Carlos Jr., who looked in unbelievable shape and came out well, but Polizzi fought well as well. He went for a single immediately. Shoefest went for a guillotine and got up. Nice hard jab from Shoefest. His right hand was looking good. And I think Aaron Bronstetter described this well on Twitter. He goes, Shoefest had, Polizzi had a negative striking differential and negative differential in ground ability, yet still won. And that was really this fight. He did all he could, and he was hanging in there. Even in the first round, like, Shoefest took his back and he had a hook in and he fell off and he landed a right hand, and there was a low blow from Alex. He was just kind of hanging in there. Lovely leg kick in the second round and a lovely single leg into the clinch. But Shoefest ended up winning it. And again, hung in there. Alex went for a guillotine, which makes Shoefest defend. And I think that was high scoring in that second round. I'll be honest, I think it was. Shoefest combo after clinch, both landed nice jabs and a right hand by Shoefest. But Alex got a takedown at him, went for that 10-finger choke again, which caused issues for Shoefest. And then Alex got a half crucifix and lands on top and landed some good shots. And he did that again in the third round. Shoefest landed some good jabs. There was maybe a clash of heads in the middle of it, and Shoefest landed a combo directly after that. Alex got a single leg though, but again, Shoefest landed in side control, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this is where he wins the fight, but and he gets the back even, but falls off, and Alex chases him and gets his shot. Shoefest wins for the double leg. Alex gets the kind of the side control into crucifix position and stays there for ages. And the ground and pound from Alex is absolutely brilliant. Hammer fist with his right hand. Shoefest tried to roll out, but Alex got into half guard with a minute left and ended up winning the fight from there. Tough man. Great win there for Polizzi. Fair play to him. Brent Primus and Solomon Renfro in. This was another one. What does my colleague Ian O'Neill say? Old dog for the tough road or something like that. And this is exactly what Brent Primus is. He nearly got knocked out a couple of times in that first round, but he nearly knocked out Renfro as well. So Brent started off with some leg kicks and a wheel kick. 2 right hands from Renfro, and Primus was kind of slipping around, but the third one hurt him. There's no doubt about that, and Primus got less aggressive. Straight right from Renfro was lovely, but then Primus dropped Renfro with a right hand. Looked like the fight was over at that stage, took his back, heavy ground and pound, going for the choke, body lock in, but he survived, went for the neck crank, and you could see in his face then he was kind of getting a little bit better. Got out late, threw a few hammer fists, but didn't really land much, in my opinion. Second round in, Renfro was landing his best shots, but in a kind of a slower start. Renfro was countering now. And it, two opportunities in the first minute to counter because Primus was thrown, and the jab of Primus was being countered by the left hook. Primus was rocked twice by a right hand and then a jab, and Brent went for the clinch then. He was smart, stayed out of it, but Renfro got out, and then he was winning on the feet again. Brent landed a right hand. Renfro got a takedown, and there was 1-1 towards the end then. The third round started and they both landed nice jabs. Primus was trying a few high kicks, didn't land. Renfro was countering well again. Lovely jab from Renfro, but then Primus kind of starts a brawl where they both land hard. Renfro landed the best shot of it, in my opinion, with a left hook. Hard right hand from Primus. Rocked Renfro though, dropped him, and then he landed a massive one on the ground, big uppercut. The commentators didn't even see it, I don't think, but that first right hand rattled him very, very, very badly. And I honestly, the commentators may be on the wrong side of it or something, they didn't see it, but then he took the back rear naked choke, and once you get in that position with Brent Primus, it's all over, and he tapped him. I'll give you the time here. It is where is it? 3:21 of round 3. Sadibou seeding got the 4:02 of round 3 finish over Andrew Sanchez. This one wasn't a classic up until the end, I'll be honest. C was kind of long and standing in the center, throwing his fast kicks. Sanchez was attacking, but C was circling out, kind of back to his old circling game again. Landed a head kick, front kick, body kick, but kind of half landed him. Wasn't the Sadibou C of last season, I don't think. Sanchez got to the clinch, but not much landed. C knees when he got into space, and then the playoff window closed, and you're kind of thinking at that point, blow it up here, ref. But more clinch and nothing in the first round. The second round, C was more on the outside now, landing. Actually, C in the first round, he was, for the start of it, he took the center and was throwing his shots down through the middle. But the second he kind of realized Sanchez was going for him, he reverted to type, and he was even more that way in the second round. Landed a spinning shot, kind of half landed. He was circling and throwing teeps. Another spin and a half landed again. Sanchez got a takedown halfway through. Went for a takedown and led to a clinch. Break after a low blow. Sanchez landed right hand after it, and yeah, just not great. Sanchez was aggressive in the third, and he got into the clinch. Threw a lot of strikes, landed maybe one. C was circling, landed a nice counter right. Teeps from C. Sanchez tried a takedown, but he got hurt bad with a right hand, a counter right, absolutely out on his feet, and then a massive right hand again from C, and the ref stopped it, and C won there. Just to mention as well, obviously Sadibou C was supposed to fight Tom Breeze, Andrew Sanchez was supposed to fight Carlisle Brexon, I believe, but Tom Breeze unfortunately again had to pull out mere hours before it, and they made this. So Sanchez did well, but not a great fight. The same could be said for Rabadanov and Espinoza. Not a classic by any means. Went to unanimous decision, and Rabadanov ended up winning it. my first notes here are a slow start. I think it was a slow start and a slow end. Elvin landed a right hand, but Rabadanov was just quicker, and he landed a nice combo. His first takedown failed about halfway, and a clinch ensues, and nothing else really happened in the first round. Rabadanov was thrown way more early in the second. Both were landing. Rabadanov jab was nice, and he got a takedown after 90 seconds. Elvin went for the omoplata, but no good. Rabadanov got on top into the right position clinch. Back to the feet, but Elvin was more defensive now and circling, and Rabadanov takedown again, but kind of got to the clinch again. And you could see that Elvin was throwing less because he was kind of fearful of the takedown, which led to more takedowns, which led to more clinches. And like the lack of elbows in PFL is just leading to way more clinches. Just they have to bring elbows back in. Quick takedown in the third for Rabadanov. He took the back, was kind of holding in control there. Mat return halfway, and then he got back to the feet. Jabs for Elvin into the clinch. Went for a guillotine. Thumbs up for Rabadanov then. He got on top, landing some shots for the last minute, and won the decision. Closest fight of the night, you could go to Adam Piccolotti versus Michael Dufort. Dufort took the center. He was reaching into a lot of shots, and I'm glad, again, Tyron Woodley said this, I saw the same, not landing much, kind of reaching into an awful lot. They landed simultaneous jabs early, and they were the best shots of the opening salvos. Adam then lands the odd shot, best of which was a kick punch combo. Soon after, Adam then got a takedown. Dufort kind of got this defensive underhook darts position, a very interesting position. And he was on top for the last minute. Not just that, but the shots in between, I thought it was a clear Piccolotti round. I know a lot of people disagreed with me. And I think it was 1-1 then after the second round. Dufort landed a right hand, but slipped. Yeah, he landed a hard right hand, kind of half dropped him, but slipped himself. Very little landing after that. And when it does, the opponent was kind of answering back. Woodley again was calling the reaching in the second round. It was a late Adam takedown try, but I think Dufort went for the guillotine, and that was good enough. Adam dropped him with a right hand at the start of the third. Went for the standing guillotine. And after that, just real nip and tuck. Very little happened. Both landed a couple of shots late, but not enough. And there was 2-1 to Piccolotti. And then there was a couple of it was a split decision. Piccolotti won 2 rounds, 2-1. Actually, it was a unanimous decision. First 2 fights then. Anthony Miro against Sergio Casio, and Julian Ruiz against Brian Zurcher. Casio won the unanimous decision, and Zurcher got the knockout of the year contender in 126 of round 2 against Julian Ruiz. First of all, to Casio, Romero entered with a plan, and Sergio didn't. And it was working all right for Romero early because he landed a lovely 1-2 at one stage, but then the plan kind of just held him back a little bit, and Casio was a bit more varied, landing more shots. Maybe they didn't look as pretty or good as Romero, but the commentator said it was close. I didn't think it was necessarily. I think Sergio won it handily enough. Same again in round 2 with Sergio landing and winning, but maybe a little less comprehensively, where Romero was doing okay, and then he got a vital takedown, which I thought after 2 minutes takes the kind of right position in the cage, but Sergio gets up. Matt return again after he got up again, and then Sergio gets on top. He got into a clinch, and there was a low blow out, and it was even enough striking, close enough. I think probably 2-0 to Sergio for me. He looked tired in the third though, and he was just straight up boxing now. He wasn't kind of doing his dancing feet, varied striking anymore, just straight up boxing, but still winning. Then he got a takedown. He went for a takedown, it was no good. Romero went for a takedown, it was no good. Sergio was landing loads on the feet now though, and Romero was tired. When they both got tired, Sergio started winning again. Got a very easy takedown then, did Sergio. Romero though, he did a good job of rolling to heel hook, and it looked good at one stage, but got into 50-50 position, and Sergio landed some massive shots, and at that stage there's no doubt. And he won the decision there. And then Zurcher with a lovely knockout in the second round. Ruiz started well though, with a couple of nice shots. Zurcher, who was the big favourite, landed some teeps with a few hard right hands behind it. But Ruiz was very brave, and he kept trying. He just kept throwing his shots. He didn't look as confident, but he still tried, and that's the sign of a real brave fighter, and the utmost credit to him. Zurcher's leg kicks and teeps are very good. And he gained some more, Ruiz gained some more confidence in the midpoint of the round with 3 right hands. Some lovely shots. Zurcher immediately hurt him again though with a right hand and a left hook. And he then landed a left hook again. Zurcher landed just check hooks just over and over and over again. Both were throwing hard late, but Ruiz had a better, especially after Zurcher the takedown try. Zurcher started quickly though in the second round. Ruiz was hitting him back, attacking more, looking more confident again, but then a big left hook off of kind of how would you put it, an exchange. Carlos Condit, Dan Hardy style, broke, turned, left hook, out. Knocked him out brutally. Again, knockout of the night, and could be a knockout of the year contender without a shadow of a doubt. So all in all, a great knockout to start tonight, a few meh fights, and then a few great fights to end it. So here is the rundown. 155, the bracket is Brent Primus on one side against Clay Collard, the 1 seed against the 4 seed. The 2 seed, Yagshimuradov against Michael Dufort. So interesting, you're going to have one of the old school, Primus and Collard in the finale, which is going to be very good. And then you're going to have either Rabzabov, who's like, you know, a tough guy, probably be the favourite from this point in against Dufort, who looked great the last time, didn't look necessarily great tonight. But if he can produce what he produced the first night, he'll fancy his chances against Rabadanov. So interesting there. And then in the light heavyweights, we have the number 1 seed Impa Kasanganay against the number 4 seed Joshua Silveira, and the number 2 seed Rob Wilkinson against the number 3 seed Yagshimuradov. So very, very interesting fights there as well. You know, Impa will want to be, getting back. He obviously fought Joshua Silveira in 2023 and won that fight by decision. So Silveira looked very, very good tonight, though. So he's gone to a different level now. It'll be interesting to see, obviously how that goes. They fought before, but Rob Wilkinson and Impa haven't fought. So if that gets to the finale, that's a new one and a very interesting one. Impa hasn't fought Yagshimuradov either, so that's also an interesting fight. So I would who would I think is the favourite? I think Yagshimuradov has been so dominant, it's hard to look past him, to be honest. Even though, Impa, people always give out to me for not picking Impa, but I don't know. I do think Impa will beat Silveira again. Wilkinson and Yagshimuradov is going to be a tough one. Wilkinson did not look good, I don't think, against Silveira. I'd probably pick Yagshimuradov. So, it's going to be some finale between Kasanganay and Yagshimuradov if it gets there now. No, in my picks, it'll probably be Silveira versus Wilkinson, but we'll see when we get there. All right, I will leave it there. Thank you very much to everybody for tuning in. My name is Sean Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.